Yo guys, welcome to my first ever Borderlands build video. Just a little backstory, I've only done build guides and any content for the first Descendant up to this point, and only started making content about 10 months ago. This is also my first Borderlands since Borderlands 2, and I am having a blast with the game. In this video, we are focused on Vex, her bleed build, and as you've seen in the showcase on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, she absolutely melts. So what are we going to go over today is the exact setup I was using in those kills, some things for mobbing, and of course the guns and items I am utilizing to max my damage. Then we'll go over a path you can follow for leveling with her, with minions, which makes for a really smooth leveling experience, and it still melts bosses along the way. But first, I do want to show how broken her kit is and what is possible with just 15 skill points and a few other items. So let's get into the 15-point setup. As you can see, I am on Ultimate Vault Hunter rank 5. Now, going into our skills, I spent 15 points. This is unnecessary, but we have to use it to get to Bloodletter, and then we also take material components. As far as my specializations, I cleared that out, reset it, so I have no points invested. I am using a shotgun with the all-fire spread launcher. We'll go over that later in the video. As far as my rep kit, I'm using one with amp and enrage, 2 damage buffs, and then we are using the throwing knife for the 5 seconds of critical hits, and this also provides a damage buff as well. So let's get into the kill. Make sure you have your all fire, pop your rep kit, throw your knife, and shoot. And say bye-bye to the boss. So the main goal there was just to show how OP this is, and now we're going to take it to the next level by filling out the rest of the skill tree and also putting on other things like her class mod and gun enhancements. So now let's go into the full skill tree setup for our bossing one-shot setup without just using 15 points. I'm going to be using more than 15 points here. We are going to have 14 points left currently, which is going to be a bit of a flex setup where you can pretty much use whatever makes you more comfortable. I try to build more into things that make it better for mobbing, so we will go over some selections there. But right now we're going to go over the must-have skill points. We're going to go into Leeching Attunement, which actually is really nice for just for general gameplay because of the lifesteal and the reload speed. Then we're going to have Bloodletter, of course, which is going to proc our bleed. We are using Geist Wave. What this does is when we cast our action skill, it's going to shoot out a wave. So if you watch in the showcase, you'll see me use this on the boss, and it's going to make them take 30% more damage for 15 seconds. Just another damage buff we can stack here with this build. Then we're going to take material components for the kinetic damage and the kinetic status effect damage, which is going to affect our bleed. Then we are taking Conjunction. This is when we are at full shield, we gain 30% gun damage. Now going into our Dead Ringer tree, we'll be taking Cold Iron, which is going to give us another 15% gun damage, and then we will take this passive, Portents of Suffering, which is going to give us another 35% status effect damage. Then in the Phase Familiar tree, we will be going with Enchantment. This gives Vex bonus kinetic damage with guns while her action skill is active, which we will have active because we're using Geist Wave. So this is going to be a bonus of 37.5% kinetic damage. So we do not use a capstone for this setup. To me, none of the capstones with this really make her any better. There's other things, good quality of life things we could be spending points in. So if you want to focus on mainly using Incarnate, which I do now, I barely ever switch to minions. I just love Incarnate. It's basically, you can pop it to save your own life. It's like having our own rep kit. It does decent damage. It does the debuff when you cast it. So there's a lot of good quality of life things we can take here other than a capstone. One's going to be Grave Sights, which is a kill skill, which is going to give you more critical hit damage, and gun handling, which is very nice, especially since we're almost always using shotguns. Then Grave Implements, another kill skill, which is going to give you you even more gun damage. And then one I really do like is going to be over here in the phase familiar tree, and it's going to be just for movement speed and 20% damage reduction. I like to move fast. The more evasive you are, the better. And then the damage reduction on top of that is also very nice. So a great thing about this is then if you say, okay, well, I want to use my minions because they still are very strong, even with very little investment, we simply will just click on Dead Ringer. It's very nice. For your extra options here, I'm going to build into the restore health on kill for the minions and Vex, and then the extra health capacity for the minions as well, because you're just going to want them on the field. And then the fire rate on kill is really, really nice. And we're still going to go with Wither here for the damage taken against the enemy for 15 seconds. So as far as specializations, I really don't have that many points. Building into Brute is definitely a very big thing here for the gun damage, and then Killer as well for the critical hit and status effect damage. As far as most of the capstones here, a lot of these are really building up or like really good mobbing ones. So like you need to build stacks for this. Same as this is a kill skill. So if you're in a boss fight, you're really not getting a kill and then shooting the boss. But for mobbing, this would be a really good selection as well. And so with this overkill, when a critical hit causes them to explode, dealing skill damage, 50% of the initial hit. And if you're utilizing your knife with Vex and a shotgun, you'll be proccing this all the time. Now let's go over our equipment. And firstly, the gun, the Looming Dualahan. What you're looking for here mostly in this game all the time is going to be these alt fires. Spread launcher is going to be the absolute melter, very good against vile enemies as well. Pretty much will one-shot them, knocks all the crystals off, and then boom, they're dead. Spread launcher fires a spread of grenades that deal 25,000 damage times 5. So this is the gun I'm using in the entire showcase. Hot Slugger is also a good option. Not as potent. You'll have to shoot more than once, but still gets the job done very well with this build. And then some other things you want to look for is like an underbarrel shotgun. Fires a shotgun that deals 1,400 damage times 9 damage per shot. The thing with this is, and when you're in this all fire, you get 5 shots total. So that's going to also make this gun very potent as well. Along the way, I actually found two buffing weapons. One is going to be this Dripping Null Saint with the alt fire. It's going to mark the enemy and they're going to receive an additional 35% damage for 8 seconds. So this is what you'll see me using in the boss kills. And then I also found this pistol, which is going to do a similar thing. It's going to be 30%, not 35%. The thing about this in all fire is you do get 4 shots with this, and it kind of leaves an AoE corrosive. So this is going to be very good for when you're mobbing if you really want to get sweaty. Now for our rep kit, Amp and Enrage. Amp's going to give you increased damage of 200% for your next shot, so you're going to want to use this on your way into the boss fight. And then Enrage is going to give you another 30% damage for 8 seconds. Then for our throwing knife, we are using the Penetrator Augment for the automatic critical hits for 5 seconds, and then it also has damage and payload, which is going to add another 15% damage taken for the target. So for our shield, I'm pretty much just running a shield that you can farm at the start of the game. It's going to be the Barrage Introverted Fireworks, which when you get kills, it's going to spawn missiles. This is very nice for mobbing on her, because she is, to me, not the best mobber, really. It takes a lot of mostly her doing gun damage, unless you're using the minion build, and then also will spawn missiles when you break armor from your shield. And this is very easy to farm, even at the beginning of the game. Really nice shield to have, and it's simply going to be at one of the first bosses here in Splash Zone. It does take a few runs to get it to drop, but that's where you're going to be farming that. Now, as far as a class mod, there doesn't seem to be a legendary that's really going to benefit this build. So the main thing we're looking for here is the plus to Bloodletter. You can get +5. I have not gotten this. I actually had this drop at level 36, and this is still the best one I have. And we could just look at how much this does. So we're going from a 30% gun damage per second, and this is for our bleed. And then we'll put this on. And this is going to bump us up to 54% gun damage. So that's really what you're going to be looking for here is a Bloodletter. And I guess if possible, if you get one with material components as well, this will also be another very, very large buff to her. Now, as far as her enhancement for the weapons, we're using all of Jacob's shotguns basically all the time. I definitely have not found something that is fantastic here, but I'm getting gun critical damage and shotgun critical damage. So just really look for stuff like that. So let's go over our damage rotation. Before the fight, we want to make sure our shotgun is an all fire, and if you're utilizing one of the buffing weapons, also make sure that is going to be an all fire. We're going to pop our stim, then use our all. We're going to hit the wave on the enemy, and then we're going to shoot our sniper, throw our knife, and switch to our shotgun. And that's really that. Are you out of your mind? So as far as a leveling build, and this is the build I used to level, I relied on her minions, which were very, very strong, got me through the entire campaign with literal ease. I would just cast my minions, and they would basically mow everything down. First up, you're going to want to take Cold Iron for the increased gun damage, and then we're going to take Grave Assault, which is a kill skill, which is going to up Vex's fire rate and her minions' fire rate on kills, which is extremely OP. Then we're going to take Coven, and this is going to give health regen to Vex and the minions, and then also add critical hit chance, which is very nice. And we're actually going to get to take 2 of these once we get to our capstone. We are going to take Grave Quickening, which is a kill skill, which is going to lower the cooldown at which we can spawn our minions. This is the tree we're going to build into the capstone. So we're taking Prismatic Weaponry here for the bonus damage with gun critical hits, which we're going to be getting a lot of, especially when we utilize our throwing knife, because that does work for our minions as well. So you use your throwing knife on something, say a boss, and your minions shoot it, and they also get all crits. And then Obedient Fiends, which is going to increase the minions' damage. And then this is the capstone, which is going to allow you to use 2 augments. This also, when you hold your action skill button, is going to make your minions get all of their health back, and then they also do not lose health. They become immune for a short duration as well. So this is very nice. And then we're going to use Wither, which is going to be a debuff the minions put on enemies, which is going to make them receive 30% more damage taken. After you're done building into this and you have more points, I do suggest going into the Incarnate skill tree and then building into Bleed with Bloodletter and then material components. And that covers everything for the Vex build guide. Any questions or suggestions about the build, let me know in the comments. I look forward to making more Borderlands builds in the future. Haro is who I'm working on next. Just got to go level and all that stuff with her. If they happen to nerf the Bleed Knife, I will do some different ideas for Vex as well. I really enjoy Vex and just her overall play style. And that's really it. Like and subscribe is appreciated. Thanks, guys. Peace.